Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. I don't know why I tried to hit a note there. Classic mistake. We're gonna, I think, oh, this is a good start except for that rate of fire and the speed, but M166X PBK. You take a pill. You got no HP, you take a pill to start the run. That's just how it goes. You take the songs that remind you of the good times. You take the songs that remind you of the best times. We do have a library behind us as well, probably. But Monstro's Lung, 4.16 damage, is actually very good. I also am decent, more than decent, on HP. Only because of Satanic Bible, otherwise I'd be a little bit more concerned. Rotten Baby's amazing as well. But yeah, this run's good. What I was going to say at the top of this episode is I am going to probably do the It's the Key achievement in our next video, our next non-daily at least. It's the Key is the one where you gotta defeat the run picking up only keys, like no other consumables or something. I'll check into that again before I give it an attempt, but it's gonna be a nightmare, and we're definitely gonna lose over the process. So don't get too attached to like the streak number, but do get attached to the idea that maybe, just maybe, we'll actually hit 1,001% in this fucking game eventually. What a nasty achievement. We might be able to do it on normal difficulty as well, which people like, I swear to you, I'm not salty about this, but I only got tweets telling me to do Zip on normal difficulty en masse after I'd already completed Zip. Unless, I mean, a couple of the Zip episodes might have gone up while I was away, so I wasn't paying close enough attention, but it was definitely like, as soon as I beat the Zip challenge, people were like, why didn't you just do it on easy? And I'm like, it's a great question. So, I actually wanted to come in here and grab a key. I figured because we had so much money, we could go to the shop and also get our key to go to what is probably a library, but no key on the shop. So, instead we just end up with a death card. Hematemesis, which is actually irrelevant at this point. I mean, I'm not too salty about it. The run is amazing right now, and we picked up enough HP to leave us in a great spot, but... Oh, it's a... Wait. Of course it's an XL floor. We got 2 item rooms. We got the quarter, and we got Rotten Baby. I didn't even notice. So we're going to take Cube of Meat, and then hopefully we get HP here. The Haunt is actually fine. Mostly because Rotten Baby's killer, and then the Death card is like the perfect counter. Yeah, shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have done that. Didn't get HP, got Polydactyl, Chariot card, and you know what? What kind of person would I be if I didn't try to go for broke on a run like this, where we've got such a good starting item in the form of Satanic Bible? Sure, is Bookworm gonna do that much for us? No, at least like not right now. But you never know on a future run if it could make all the difference. Plus we've got so much HP potential regardless. This is like, the Chariot card is the ultimate, I don't want to deal with this fucking enemy, go fuck yourself item. Now we're back up to 3.5 Spirit Hearts already. It's not my goal to get through this run as fast as possible. You have to take my word on that, based on the fact that we're 2 minutes deep on the 3rd floor here. But we got, I'm mad because I thought Rotten Baby was going to kill him way faster, but we got the potential to have one of those sorts of runs here. You know, we got a good orbital. We got Monstro's Lung. Rotten Baby plus, I mean, decent damage. Better damage than we get on a lot of runs at this point. So, that's going to do work for us if this guy would ever aggro an enemy. Could use a little range increase. Could use a couple of things, but we're mostly, like, extremely fine right now. I gotta admit, though, there's just something about not having a single red heart. Like, it's such a good safety blanket. Verp. Last pill we took, Hematemesis. It's actually pretty good. I doubt we'll get good use out of it, but there is a chance that we could turn that into something useful. Did you ever have a safety blanket as a child? Well, I mean, most people, I imagine, did. I don't have, well, I mean, I had like a stuffed animal that I slept with until I was like 5 or something, but now my safety blanket as an adult is Dan Carlin's Hardcore History podcast. I can sleep without it, but it's not going to be as easy of a transition into Never Never Land, as James Hetfield said. I think we just replace our physical safety blankets with like an environmental safety blanket. I mean, I actually, not that it's a safety blanket, but I find it hard to sleep without there being a duvet on top of me. And sometimes it'll be like, oh, we got it. What kind of person would I be if I didn't try that? Sometimes it'll be like the dead of summer. I don't know if people say, they always say the dead of winter. I don't know if the dead of summer is actually something. I guess we'll take Swallowed Penny. But it's the dead of summer, and Kate will be like, why do you have that duvet on? You're sweating through the sheets and stinking the joint up. And I'm like, you don't understand. I can't sleep without it. She's like, but you're like 35 degrees when I tell that dude, please raise up off these NUTs because you gets none of these at ease. When you out with the dog pound, feel the breeze. Because I'm just rolling down the street. I see the tinted rock, by the way. There's not much I can do about it right now. There might be some stuff left on this floor, but I think we're pretty free to move on here. Maw of the Void was a big pickup. So I guess I do literally have like a safety blanket. But I don't want to call it a safety blanket because I'm a nearly 30-year-old man. So, you know, it's a tough call. Not that there's anything to be ashamed of, you know? We've all got things that, you know, get us through this life. If it's a blanket for you, by all means. You know what a lot of adults use to fall asleep at night? Alcohol. A safety blanket is way healthier, although it does make you look perhaps a little bit on the younger side. But hey, people buy all sorts of creams and gels for that. Just get a blanket, saves you the trouble. I knew a dude, he worked like super early in the morning. Like 4:30 a.m. was the start of his shift. I mean, his sleep schedule adjusted, but you still, when you're waking up like before the sun goes up and you're going to bed before the sun goes down, in a lot of cases at least, it's going to be a little tough on the system at first. I used to drink like a quarter of a bottle of NyQuil a night. I was like, man, that's not really that good for you. And he's like, yeah, I know. And then like 3 or 4 years later, NyQuil came out with a product called Z-Quil, which was just the NyQuil like sleeping aid without any of the cold medicine in it. And I was like, man, he was onto something. I really should not have naysayed, because that dude had a good idea. But yeah, you know, if you need, whatever you need to use to get to sleep within reason, if it doesn't destroy your health or hurt the people around you, why not, dude? I know I was talking to Austin about it, and he's like, I don't understand how you can sleep with, like, while listening to something. It seems like that would be distracting. And it is. And I'm not trying to say, like, if you don't like this, like, you're not wrong. You know, everybody's got their own sleeping patterns and habits and stuff like that. But for me, a distraction to get to sleep is extremely important. Like, it's not like I just toss and turn and I got, like, anxiety. For all the anxiety I have in, like, waking life, at night I don't really do the stereotypical, like, oh, I wonder what's gonna go wrong tomorrow sort of thing, which I'm very happy for. Thanks for the luck and range upgrade. We actually could use the range, to be fair. But it's just like, instead of having to come up with my own train of thought, having a podcast running gives me that train of thought that I can actually follow, and it helps if it's like on the level. Like, I could never listen to like Roundtable to fall asleep, although I'm sure that there are people who do. I could never listen to my own videos to fall asleep, even if I wasn't myself, if that makes sense, because, you know, sometimes you'll be talking and then sometimes you'll be going like, you know, oh, we're having a really good run. Oh, it's proptosis, you know? We just start yelling super loud. It's extremely meta, because I think people will probably have woken up to me saying that while talking about how I could never fall asleep while watching my own videos, but you get the idea. But it helps if it's just like, you know, somebody weaving a narrative for you is very nice. We'll buy a key here. That way you have something to focus on while you fall asleep and you're not wrapped up in your own stuff and got nothing to worry about there. So this is probably our secret room. I'm for it. And people tell me, they go, it's kind of weird, but I've fallen asleep to your voice every night for like the past 4 or 5 years. And I'm like, not weird at all. I've done the same thing with the Hardcore History podcast. I understand. I embrace my role as a professional background noise. And I'm happy to bring you that level of comfort. Of course, I know that many people are waking up in a cold sweat going, oh, there's actually a self-sacrifice room there. What are you doing? But, dude, this is good. Pop Justice, hold Empress and Sun. Oh, how long has that mouse pointer been on the screen? Be honest with me, chat. Don't be honest. I don't want to know. Let's get the hell out of here. We're about 4.5 minutes ahead of schedule, which is, I guess, just a testament to how good this run really is. Like, it's sincerely... It was a real good start. Let's put it that way. And with 2 luck, assuming that affects Maw of the Void, which I've always operated under the assumption that it does, then we're not quite unkillable, but very close. In fact, we may actually be unkillable. Let's put it this way. We're unkillable enough that I actually, you know, felt like going to pick up Black Bean was the right choice. Even though it would cost us HP and is a bad item. Genuinely, just not a good item. I think we're good to the extent that it's almost good for us as a result. I don't like hitting these buttons anymore. You know what? I'd like to meet you on that troll shit halfway, Isaac, but there's been so many situations lately where I've, like, pressed the button and an enemy spawned right in my face that was almost, not quite, but almost undodgeable. So you know what? You lost your chance. You lost your chance. I think I'm gonna be a nice guy. Because this run is so powerful, I'm gonna donate a bunch of money. I don't care about luck or angel precedent or anything like that. Just donate enough that, you know, we're keeping our donation machine in a healthy, equilibrious spot. I don't think that's a phrase or a word that makes any sense, but that's okay. I'm gonna buy a key for 3 cents just so we're good to go here, and we'll move along. Goodbye, shopkeep. It's been nice. Please don't give me a room of dice. Well, we didn't get a key from our first play there. Should we go for another one? Probably not, but I did. Still trying to earn black hearts via Maw of the Void because, well, there's no good because there. Let's just say we spent 1 key to get a death card and move on. I guess because it's satisfying to kill many enemies in one fell swoop. It's not a good room for a death card. In Maw of the Void and Monstrous Lung, I'm trying to come to terms with the fact, like, do they synergize with one another or are they destructive? I guess, you know, you charge them both, so that's good. But you gotta hit with them in order to make them actually work. So I think they vary on the synergistic scale. Did you know there's no, like, Merriam-Webster official word for the opposite of synergy? I had to look it up the other day because I was using it for an episode title. It's probably like a month ago, actually, at this point. But there just isn't one. There's, like, old news group posts that say, like, you know, dis-synergy or, you know, cis-synergy or something like that. You know, they're like, well, the Latin prefix for, you know, anti is blah. You get the idea. We need a word for anti-synergy. Synergy, as much as it gets made fun of, like, in the business world, because it's kind of a buzzword, you know, people just go, synergy. That's what our business looks for, but, like, synergy is a real thing. It's when two things have, like, oh, we gotta go for bookworm, right? Two things apart have, let's say, X value. They each have a value of X, a productivity, let's say. But when you put them together, they don't go to 2X, they go to, like, 2.5X. That's synergy. It's a way of saying that, like, elements coming together aid each other so they're more than the sum of their parts. Like, my content is bad, Josh's content is bad, but when you put our content together, it's not as bad. See, there you go. That's an example of synergy. But there's just as easily examples, or at least the concept of dis-synergy, as I'm going to call it. You ever have somebody, I mean, we've all done group projects in school. Some of you are the bad group member in the group project, and I just want to say, get your act together, because it's not fair to the people that do the work, that you're like, well, I'm just going to fart around, and we all get the same grade anyway. One day it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. I got an anecdote about that. If I got time over the course of today's episode, I'll tell it. Long story short, we had some group members in a project in university who just ghosted us, go to, like, Bonnaroo or something in the weekend the final project was due. When we handed it in, like, they literally did nothing. When we handed it in, we went to the professor and we're like, just so you know, like, Me and this person did the entire project. So the other 2 people on this should get 0 mark. And they were like, thanks for letting us know. And then they failed the class. Well, NL, you're such a narc. Well, do your work. Why am I doing your work for you? This isn't the real world. This is school. Just show up to the meeting and you'll at least get your name on the paper. Anyway, long story short. We've all had people that we've worked with in group projects and, you know, they're like, well, I think we should all get a little input on this. Like, how does everybody feel about every single part of this project? You know, it's not agile. Verped up another Hematemesis spill. And that's a situation where, like, you got maybe 4 people working together. They accomplish less than 4x. I mean, that synergy, or that situation is almost more common than real synergy, I think. We've all had situations where we've been like, please, just let me do the project myself. So I think I'm going to take blank card, because blank card Hematemesis is cool, and it doesn't work, now that I think about it. Wait. Okay, we've been to special rooms, that's fine. No, blank card Empress is okay, and we don't need any more HP. Like, we already have a Thame giving us black hearts on occasion, so we shouldn't die. We might die, but we shouldn't die. I actually took a retrovision pill. I think at this point, like, retrovision actually has no impact on me. I just look at it and I go, yep, there it is again. I'm here to tell you, though, like, if you're anything like me, you probably hated group projects a little bit in high school and university, but your professors and teachers always said, well, you're gonna have to work with people in the real world, so it's an important skill to have. I hate to say it, they're right, though. It is an important skill to have. It teaches you a lot of valuable skills. I know this sounds like it's gonna be the most boring topic ever, but hear me out here. One thing it teaches you that's really valuable is that nobody cares about your excuses, you should just get the work done. You know, it's better to just finish your project and have it, I guess, like, done on time and to a certain level of sufficiency at your own expense, than to go to your teacher and be like, well, Jordan didn't do his part, you know? That's, in the real world, you do your part, you do Jordan's part, and then you tell them you did Jordan's part, you get promoted and Jordan gets fired, and life's better that way. You want a Halo or Death's Touch? Probably Death's Touch, right? We don't necessarily need either, but... The other thing is, you are going to work with people... Oh, dude, Empress keeps working. That's awesome. I don't want to call them idiots, because that's not fair. Not everybody is book smart. Not everybody's smart in the same way. Like, if you worked on a group project in an engineering class with me, you would think I am a moron. You would actually be like, this kid is an idiot. If you worked on, like, you know, an English project or something, you'd be like, he's bringing some valuable skills to the table. And that is also extremely representative of what's going to happen to you in the real world. Even if you're gonna think this is crazy. Even if you're a YouTuber, you gotta learn how to do group work. As ridiculous as that sounds. Because you gotta learn skills like telling somebody to hurry the fuck up. You'd be like, hey, we said our meeting time was at 3:15, it's 3:30, everybody's here waiting on you. Like, how is this fair that we're wasting our time? Sometimes that person is me, by the way, who's late, but, just to be honest here, it's the thing, you gotta learn how to communicate in a group, you gotta learn how to, like, you know, delegate tasks and accept the delegation of tasks as well. It really is an important skill. You're much more likely to end up using the skill of how to work in a group than you are to learn, or to need the skill of, like, remembering the individual steps of the Krebs cycle. And I say that as a biology degree holder, so, you know, that should tell you something about how I feel about my own degree. Like, the most important skills you learn in school, for the most part, you may disagree with me, and that's fine, man. It's just one man's opinion. Group work, communication, time management. I also feel like, you know, responsibility is important. When I was in 8th grade, which is still pretty young, to be fair. When I was in 8th grade, we had a late penalty for assignments, but the teacher would still accept them. Wow, we got really fast there. The penalty was literally 2% per day. So you'd be like, well, my project's not done. I could hand it in and get probably like a D-, or I could work on it tonight, maybe get like a 90 and lose 2% for being late. You know, tough call on that one. And when I was in the class, I was like, this is dope. I basically, I could probably take like 5 extra days to do a project if I want to do it without costing myself too much. But then in university, I handed everything in university, believe it or not. But they're just like, yeah, I mean, it's due today. If you don't hand it in after that, you get a 0. It's just the way she goes, boys. And I was like, you know what? That's a valuable skill. Goodbye, Hematemesis. I truly believe that. I wish, not that it really came back to bite me in the ass too much, but I wish that, in a way, my high school teachers and middle school teachers had been more mean. Not because I wanted to work more, but because it's more value. Because now there are some times where I'm like, you know, you get a letter in the mail and it's like, we request your response by this day, and you're like, it's mostly just a suggestion. It would have been good to get in that habit early. Would have saved me some, I mean, not terrible, but unpleasant lessons in adult life once you start managing your own affairs. But apart from that, I recognize that I'm basically a big nerd and I'm asking for school to be harder. It's not really fair. I mean, you're already spending like, you know, 10 hours a day there for 16 years roughly, and then you choose whether or not to go to college, and it just like, you know, goes on forever. So maybe it's like balanced properly. You know, you're here for a long time, not a good time. So have a good time. The sun don't shine every day. That's what, wait, who sang that? We're here for a good time, not a long... Is that Nazareth? We're here for a good time, not a long... Trooper! That's right. Has like exactly the same tune as it's a Canadian band, but it has exactly the same tune as Obla Di Obla Da by the Beatles, you know. But nobody's ever noticed, so I don't want to blow up their spot. I mean, they might be great group workers. I don't have any other topics to talk about here. I don't know. I feel like, you know, I'm with you, nerds. I believe it or not, I have actually a story related to group work that is a good story. In my senior year of high school, I was in a philosophy class. And by the way, if you respond to that with "lol philosophy," you're a bad person. I was in 12th grade taking a philosophy class. What did you take? Oh, I took a spare period, so I could play more League of Legends. Yeah, okay, it's important to have a well-rounded education. Philosophy gets so little respect. All the arts get so little respect. If you're a STEM major, you know, good for you, dude. You know why I don't like when people say they're a STEM major, though? Because I go, oh, I have a science degree. And then they go, oh, well, biology is the arts of the sciences. And you know, okay, yeah, all right. Enjoy being freaking single until you're 50 years old. God damn. It's just because you're a snob, okay? Stop being a snob and we're going to be good here. I lived with engineers. My like entire university career, deal with that shit all the time. LOL, psychology degree. Half of those engineers are still in school, man. You got a responsibility. You got to deliver on that STEM snobbishness. And I have that sometimes, you know. I'll admit, but I've tried to wean myself out of it. But anyway, I was in a philosophy class in 12th grade. And I was like sick on the day that the groups got assigned. So I got assigned, we're gonna go for like fucking broke here, dude. Oh, that's the ticket. I got assigned, no, we're just gonna, I think we should just go. HP's a little dicey. 9 lives on the hush is always a little scary. And if we get delirium, we'll do it. But, I got assigned with the people who like always skipped class. So you're like, you know, there's me, looks like a freaking turbo nerd, and then there's like 2 people that have full mustaches and smell like cigarettes, and you're like, okay, I was sick. What were you guys doing? Oh, well, you know, I just thought I'd skip class and sit in Tom's car for 45 minutes. All right, well, you know, more power to you, I guess. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. So I got assigned to work with these people on the project, and then, honestly, the project was good. We delegated work, we all did our work, and they did their best. And that sounds patronizing, but I don't mean it in that way. They actually, like, did all their work. But when we handed it in, the project was good, and our teacher obviously did not expect that, so he kind of, like, took me aside one day after the other kids had left class and been like, hey, like, the project that you guys handed in was really good. Is there anything you want to tell me about it? Like, the implication was not plagiarism. The implication was like, did they do any work, or did you do, like, the whole project? And I had to, like, sit down and convince him. I was like, no, like, they did their share of the project. It's a very feel-good story because, you know, everybody... I mean, these kids, they had a long academic tale behind them, you know? They've got a decade of experience not getting that great of marks or trying that hard in class. And we had all started to come to the assumption that they're, you know, not academically strong. But then when they applied themselves on this project, they fucking killed it. And that's dope. I think we're going to save all our keys here. Like, I always thought that was like a feel-good moment. We were like, if only they, you know, believed in themselves a little bit and applied themselves a little bit more, they would have, you know, maybe had they've got every capability of doing as well in school as anybody else, you know? And that's, I'm relaying that story to you because they're lost souls at this point. No, I don't know. They might be doing just fine. But, you know, if you're in that situation, you can always pull it out. You know, you don't have to know your role in school. If you've always been a bad student, you know, I feel like that gives you an identity. And to break the mold of that and be like, this semester I'm actually going to get A's, you know, that's tough from a social standpoint because you're not the guy who gets A's. You're like, I'm the class clown who's smart but doesn't try that hard. That's my identity. Fuck that, dude. Break him off a piece of that honor roll. Go for it, dude. Be the smart kid who does apply himself. I promise you, you won't regret it. Unless you do. But, like, you know, don't be afraid. It's very sad when you meet people, and it happens all the time as adults as well. People who are paralyzed by the idea that the worst thing would be to try and fail. So as a result, they never try. People who... I'm just going to go back for this black card here. By the way, this run has gone off in a soapbox direction because it's been so easy. I'm thankful for that, but I recognize I'm not talking too much about the game here. And I am being preachy as well. And I always come across at the end and say, you know, like, I am also a child still in the eyes of... Well, not the law, but in the eyes of, you know, people who are older than me. So take it with a grain of salt. Let's keep our permanent Polaroid invincibility and move along here. But... You know, you see people and they're like, you know, I'd really like to do this, but I don't think that I have it in me, so I'm just not going to ever do it. And you're like, well, that's sad because you're just never going to do it then. What are you doing instead? Like, you know, you're just sitting in a holding pattern. Holding pattern, you know, for rest purposes, for recreational purposes, nothing wrong with it. But, you know, if you really want to do something, eventually Journey of 1,000 Miles starts with a single flipping step, you know? Don't be afraid to shake it up. Dude, proptosis, though, is the greatest pickup. It's not like I'm, you know, over here curing cancer or something like that. But, you know, I had always thought I am an idiot when it comes to programming, you know? I can't learn programming. I'm not that naturally adept at math. It's just, you know, I'm not going to say there's no math portion necessary, especially on a computer science standpoint, but... You can totally learn it. Might take you a little longer at the start than the average person. You know what? Pride yourself on working that much harder. If you want to. Or if you don't, then just tell me to fudge right off. I'll be very disappointed if the top comment here doesn't say fudge off, I won't do what you tell me. Anyway, this is like the easiest run I've had in 100 years of Isaac. And it's over. Not even a void floor. So, I mean, if you want to give me more Eden starts like that, I'm not going to complain. For now, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. And, of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But for now, thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time.